Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another installment of Burley's World. I wanted to talk to you guys today about tapping into your potential, things that hold you back from that, and things that can propel you forward into that. Uh, I talked in another episode about friends and are your friends holding you back? Certainly, that is one thing. Friends, family, other acquaintances that can be real negatrons, real ambassadors of disaster with their all of their stories of how everything could go wrong, and yet usually those are the people that haven't really done anything anyway. So you take it with a grain of salt. They have no experience. They've just maybe heard of somebody who has tried something and it didn't work out or whatever. Uh, but the people that aren't willing to try aren't really the people that you need to be taking advice from anyway. So certainly don't give them power or their opinions power over things that you want to do when you want to step forward and they want to stay right where they're at. The other thing is our mind. And certainly what people say can affect the things that we think, the influences we have in our life, the people we have in our life, that can affect our mindset. But also, you truly are the controller of your own mindset. And many people tend to use negative messages to themselves, saying, you probably can't do that. Gosh, that I'll never be able to afford doing this. This isn't a good time for me. I don't have time. All of those thoughts and all of those messages that you say to yourself, you believe them. If you continually feed your own mind with messages from your mind into your mind, whatever you feed yourself is what comes out. So if you continue to give yourself self-limiting messages, you will continue to self-limit. There's just no way around it. You can't be a high achiever by telling yourself that you're no good. It just doesn't work that way. So how do you change that? I pictured something a while back. You've heard the phrase stepping outside of the box. And a box, it has what, 4 walls, a bottom and a top, right? So there's 6 panels that hold you where you are. And to step outside of the box means getting past one or more of those panels, the bottom, the top, digging your way out through the bottom, crawling your way out the top, pushing over the sides, whatever it takes to get out of that box. Guess what, folks? There is no box. The only box that you have perceived all of this time is the one that you have imaginarily placed on yourself. Sure, you may have grown up with some negative messages that sort of boxed you in, but it was you reinforcing those messages that kept you there. You created that box. I know that there's all kinds of circumstances and, people have grown up in crummy situations. That didn't help. However, we've all heard stories of people who have grown up impoverished in the ghetto. They have reached outside of that. They have achieved incredible things. So it's not the circumstance you come from. It's the circumstance you're going to. And that's really the only thing that matters, is not where you are, but where are you going? Where do you want to go? What does it take to get there? Are you going to allow yourself the belief that you can get there? If you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. Now, sometimes you've got to borrow a little bit of belief from somebody else. In the beginning, honestly, I had no self-confidence when I was younger, zero. But I watched other people that did. I hung around people that did. I didn't know how to even really carry on a good social conversation. I was very socially inept when I was younger. I know people don't believe that now. But when I was younger, my early teen years, I didn't know how to carry on conversations with people. I was just kind of all in a really tightly wound bundle, and I was all inside, and I could think about a lot of things, but to actually carry on conversations about those was very difficult. So I spent time around people who were more outward thinkers, talkers, socializers. And in the beginning, you've heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. Well, I kind of did. I was around people and I thought, these people are really enjoying themselves. They're talking with people, they're socializing, they're making plans to do these different social events. And they don't think anything of it. That's just normal to them. Well, it was incredible to me that somebody could do that, because that's not where I was. But I thought, I wonder if I just did what they did, and if I said what they said, if I would get similar results. Well, wouldn't you know it, I borrowed a little of that from some other people, held on to that, and I practiced. And sure enough, if I was having the same mannerisms and smiling and asking people how they were doing, and then would carry on a little bit of small talk, just like the people that I had watched do it did, well, guess what? I was getting the same results. People were smiling, they were laughing, they were enjoying a conversation with me, the guy who didn't know how to carry on a conversation. So I borrowed some of the skills from people I was around. I borrowed enthusiasm from other people because I didn't really know what to get excited about. I didn't know anything about doing a lot of investments. So I hung around those people, and I hung around these high achievers. And what I found was, the more I hung around them and the more I saw their belief and their confidence, the more I was able to borrow a little of that for myself. You can do it too. You can do it too. There is basically no limit to what you can do with a little bit of belief. Now, I know, obviously, we're not all going to be astronauts. We're not all going to be NBA stars. I'm talking about doing things that are within the normal realm that you maybe don't think are. I was not a real high earner, but here I am today, and I am putting myself in a situation where I'll be retiring here in the next several months. And honestly, that was a plan that I had, probably 30 years ago, was to be able to do that. But when the crash happened, even my belief took a hit, because the future was pretty unsure. And so I got myself in a bit of a funk, and it took somebody else's belief in me, for me to kind of latch onto that again, and to believe that, hey, I can do this. I just have been asking myself the wrong questions, or feeding myself the wrong information. I just kept saying, I can't because of this, or I can't because of that. One of the things I have tried to tell people, or remind people, is that the mind is extremely powerful. Not only is your belief important, but asking the right questions is critical. So rather than saying, I don't think I can finance this real estate deal, what if I asked myself the question, how can I finance this real estate deal? Or how many different ways can I structure this real estate deal? How can I make this happen even if, say, credit isn't good, or I don't have a whole lot of money in the bank, or let's say you're tapped out on your credit lines. So yeah, everything's an obstacle. There's a million obstacles out there if you let them be obstacles, but treat them as speed bumps, not brick walls. You hop over speed bumps. You don't slam into a brick wall. The brick wall stops you. Speed bump, you can go over. It's just a hurdle. It's just one more thing to get past. So think of obstacles as hurdles or as speed bumps, and ask yourself the right question. How can I do this? What are the different ways I can do this? Whatever it may be. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's something complicated in a relationship. There are so many different things. But believe it or not, once you start asking yourself the right questions, your mind, the brain is an amazing thing. Your mind will begin to work on that problem for you. And before you know it, if you keep asking yourself the right questions, in fact, if you make a habit of asking yourself that same question every morning or every night before you go to bed, or both, your mind will start working on that problem while you're asleep. Your mind will be working on it during the day while you're at work. You've got all these calculations going on in the back of your head, and you can be busy working, and this part of the brain is still working on it. It absolutely works. And within a few days or a few weeks, you're going to have multiple solutions or potential solutions to the problem that you asked your brain to start working on. It absolutely works. I've seen it happen in my life. I've seen it happen in others. You guys got to try it. It really does work. So that's mostly what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I look forward to talking with you in the next video. Talk to you soon.